Bow down before my psycho power.
This tournament has been going on in the background while I've been yapping. And I haven't been like watching. Cause like as I'm like talking, I'm like thinking more than watching. But I've seen a lot of Clive on the screen. And what's been happening? Have Clive been like right now? There's a Clive mirror match in winners final. Um, is Clive dominating this tournament, and is he just like he's obviously strong enough to where there's two of him in top eight? But it's like, is this Clive? Is Clive the new launch Leroy? Is Clive so powerful to where all of the Korean players, Osan, who was playing Dragunov, dropped him? Mogul was playing Claudio, dropped him. You have two players who were playing top five characters, that being Claudio and Dragunov, and now they both dropped him to play Clive. Is Clive that powerful? Basically, what that means is Clive is number one. That's basically what that means. In order for a Claudio main to drop Claudio, who the main man Sui said, Claudio's top three in the game. Claudio's top three. So for a Claudio main to drop top three Claudio and play Clive, for a Dragunov main to drop top five Claudio and play, that means he's number one, undisputedly. There's no other way around it. And for a DLC character to be this powerful is crazy. But also it makes sense. It makes sense that they would release a pay-to-win DLC character that's undisputedly the best in the game while there's no tournament circuit going on. Of course, there's unofficial tournament circuits going on, but it's not the Tekken World Tour that's going on. They don't want Clive to destroy their tournaments and make a mockery of their tournaments. So let's release this guy in between 24 and 25 World Tour, but then about time 25 starts up, then we'll nerf him and we'll put him back in line with everyone else. But for that few couple of months, let them run wild and let the characters experience to pay to win. It seems like that's what that's the idea. Maybe they're just testing him. No, I don't think so. Like that's not how tournament players test characters. Like Arsenal and Ash. Remember when Arsenal said he was going to play Yoshi and Victor in at Evo? He didn't, but remember he said he was going to. That is a pro player testing a character. When you see them tweeting about they may do something, that they're like labbing a character like crazy. But when you see characters show up in top eight with the guy, that's not testing. I'm not like I don't play Tekken 8 enough to comment on how powerful uh Clive is, which is why I formed what I said as a question. Because that's all I could do is ask questions about how powerful he truly is, and is this what he is? Is he so powerful to where you drop all the powerful characters to play him? Do you drop Jin Kazama to play him? I would be very interested to see if he's that. Obviously, he's not powerful enough to make Nee stop playing Brian. Nee is a character, is a player who will drop his main to play powerful characters. But also, Nee is having a lot of traction right now with Brian Fury, so maybe he doesn't want to interrupt that flow that he has going. Certain players really can't operate on a whim like that. They can't just pick up and drop. Like you would have thought Osan was one of those, but I guess not. He dropped Clive, and now here he is 2 weeks later in the tournament, top eight cooking, right? But you think of Nee is one of those people who, if he switch, he there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and it's a real commitment, right? Like if you think about Nee playing Negan in Tekken 7, he switched to Negan, and I don't think it was ever a point where it was his primary. Maybe there was some instances, but it was always a pocket pick. Whenever Nee played against Jack or the Bears, he would immediately pull out Paul Phoenix. There was no hesitation. If his opponent picked Jack or the Bears, Nee picks Paul Phoenix. And there was probably other situations like that where Nee would immediately go to Negan, right? So, but in this game, it seems like he's kind of just sticking to Brian Fury. He's not really, trying to counter pick as much, and because Nee struggled at the start of Tekken 7, right? And or the start of Tekken 8. And I don't know if he struggled because, well, he obviously was struggling because he was still trying to play Tekken 7, but is the counter picking mindset a part of why he was struggling? Was he struggling because he was trying to counter pick and stuff like that? Because counter picking is like defense and whatnot, right? You're thinking about what the character throws at you and how you want to counter. That's why it's a counter pick. But in Tekken 8, that's not what works. Tekken 8, you just go. You just do. So maybe him throwing away the idea of counterpicking is why he's doing better. Obviously, it's not the whole reason, but maybe that's why he doesn't do counterpicks anymore, and he just plays Brian Ferry because there is no defense, there is no this. It's just do what your character does, and that's it. And if you're gonna do that, you might as well do that with one either your favorite character or the strongest character. And it seems Brian Ferry is pretty strong in this game. Every time I look at the tier list, he goes up, 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 up. I feel like eventually he will be top 10. Maybe he already is. I don't know. But with Brian Ferry, he's in a very good position in this game currently, and there's no real reason to, drop Brian Ferry for like a Dragonov or a Jin or a Yoshi or whatever, right? So I do think that could be factoring into why Nee is playing Brian Ferry and whatnot, right? But as you can see here, Mogold is back to playing Clive, so you can see that he is bouncing between the two. Or Mogold is back to playing Claudio, and he's is bouncing between both Clive and Claudio. And I wonder what it is about the law matchup that made him pick Claudio. And I wonder, like, because he's currently losing, but I wonder if he was to lose more of this match and basically the whole match, would he then switch to Clive? Like, is Clive like his like, okay, let's take off the gloves type of character, or is it something totally different? I don't know. I just like to analyze what the pro players are doing, what characters they're playing, when they switch, why they switch, because it tells us about the true levels of the game, which is why everyone pays attention to what the pros are saying. But also at the same time, you do have to understand that what happens in tournaments is kind of different from what happens in casuals. But at the same time, we're seeing a lot of overlap with Tekken 8, period. With Claudio, he does well in both tournaments and online. Same thing with Dragunov, Jin, and Yoshimitsu, and even Clyde, right? I think this is one of the few instances where tournaments and casual is syncing up pretty nicely, because you had in Tekken 7 where like Steve Fox and Jin would dominate, but then you look at their win rates and stuff like that and was horrible, the worst. And you had many examples of that throughout Tekken 7, but this is the one, not the one time, but this is like a rare instance of everything syncing up and every player pretty much having the same experience, which is why you go back to season 2 and what they're going to do when every player is having the same experience and saying the same thing. Yes, there's some people who's having a good time on the game, but with the Steam reviews sitting at a mix currently, the recent reviews, that shows that like everyone is not really enjoying it, and you just wonder if the developers will just say who cares, full steam ahead, or if they'll be like, okay, let's scale it backwards, you know?